Okay. Hello, people. Of course, my name is Myckelle Williams. I have actually got a great response from a Facebook post that I put out. And the post was like, hey, you guys have seen me traveling and you've seen me going everywhere. Just this year alone, I went to Puerto Rico, I went to London, I went to Amsterdam, I went to Paris, I went to Greece. And so everyone was like, wait a minute, what's going on? I had people inbox me like, you rich? No, I'm not rich. And you guys know, like 3, 4 years ago, I was a server in a restaurant. I was working 16, 17-hour shifts. I was living, on every dime they put on those tables. That was my income to support my kids. I had just gotten divorced a few years ago, about 7 years ago. I went through a bankruptcy. We got evicted at the time. So it was a miserable time. I can say I was having a tough time with everything. And I had a 500 credit score after my bankruptcy. I was working doubles. I had 2 jobs at one point, and I was going to school to get my master's. So I literally had no room to breathe. I couldn't, I had to budget my money just to buy a cheeseburger. Okay. And I was like, no, just skip the extra cheese, just hamburger. It's fine. But you guys know where I was at because a lot of you have been with me on my journey. And so people have seen me now traveling and seeing the world, and they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And see, I noticed that in our community, you know what I mean by our community, we don't share information and tips with each other. We like hide stuff from each other. We don't want each other to know what we're doing. I don't know where that comes from or why, but I'm one of those people. I love to empower people. Y'all know me. You guys know my posts. You guys know I'm all about like empowering one another. I'm all about fighting for justice. I'm all about making sure everybody has the same leg up. Because at one point, I lived with a mom who had money. I live with my dad who didn't have money. So I kind of see all spectrums of our culture and how we operate. And so I want to help you guys to learn some of these tips and tricks. Did I say it right? Tips and tricks that I have learned in order to be able to live this life that I've dreamed of. When I got divorced, I put together a bucket list. I said, I'm going to travel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I've been able to start marking off those things. It does take planning, guys. Like, this does not just happen overnight. I didn't just wake up and be like, I'm going to Greece today. It doesn't work like that. So if you're looking to travel next year, guess when you got to start? This year. So if you want to get ready for it, I can show you the steps to get ready. And what I want to do is I want to start a YouTube channel. And I want the YouTube channel to try to help you guys with these tips. And we can share them so you guys can get on and give each other tips. Because a lot of us know stuff that we're not telling you. I had friends of other races tell me this information. And I'm like, why don't we tell each other this? But my friend Myckelle, for instance, she was like, hey, I take a free trip every single year with my family. And I'm like, well, what do you mean a free trip? She was like, yeah, I just use my travel cards to pay for everything. And then I take a trip with all my points. And I'm like, what? I didn't even think this was possible. So I started researching and I realized some of the stuff I'm about to tell you. So right now, I'm just going to give you pretty much the top 3 that are interested, for those who are interested in getting started. Of course, as we go, if you guys want to subscribe, I'll get a YouTube channel together and then I'll share more tips as we go. But I'm just going to start off today with my top 3 because I told y'all I would do a video and I'm going to do it today. So let me just start from the beginning. Okay. So in the beginning, I told you my credit was 550. I had a bankruptcy, and of course, I get my master's, so I got student loans of the yin yang. Now, all that stuff is gone off my credit. If you want to start to travel and live the life you want, you got to start with your credit, okay? Listen, the higher the score, the more stuff you qualify for, and the better your rates will be. To me, I liken the credit score to money in your pocket, okay? We got to teach our kids that early, guys, because when we have good credit and we don't allow it to get screwed up when we're teenagers having a good time, please don't let your kids do that. But if you don't allow that to happen, what you can do is qualify for these cards that will enable you to be able to do trips and all kinds of other stuff. Now, I am not speaking of creating debt. So I don't want any Dave Ramsey followers to be coming after me, okay? If you don't want debt, don't get debt. If you want to pay for your vacations cash and you have the money to do that, cool, I'm happy for you. But not all of us do. And so if we don't, I'm talking about just getting cards and using them for expenses you would already pay, but just putting it on the card and paying it right off. You get what I'm saying? So my mother always had an 850 credit score, and she was always like, listen, I get the credit cards, I pay something off one time, so I'll lose the card, and I cut it up. And my mother's credit score was 850. She had like so many cards, and they increase your limit every so often, and every once in a while you just buy something, pay it right off, and then you keep that going. I started doing that, and now my score is over 700. But my bankruptcy is gone. My student loans are not showing. That is a whole nother topic. If you want assistance with credit repair, inbox me, because I have people who do that. And they help me wipe that stuff off my credit score legally, including the inquiries. Brought my score up to 700, probably within 5 or 6 months. People say you can't do it. You can do it. So I'm going to just say that if you want to inbox me and ask me about the credit, I'll hook you up. I don't have a problem with helping people and sharing information. Y'all keep being stingy. I'm going to keep sharing information because I believe we empower one another with knowledge and our community. Okay, so not speaking of getting debt. So what I'm speaking of, a lot of people say, well, what do you mean by that? Because credit card is debt, right? No. What I'm talking about is getting a credit card, like a travel card, and using it for what you normally would use it for. So if you pay your water bill, just pay it with that card. You already have the cash to pay your water bill, right? Put the money right back on that card as soon as you use it. So spend the card, put the money right back on that card to pay it off. So it's zero balance. All of my credit cards are at zero balances, because the more you keep your cards at zero balance, the higher your score goes. So I just take the money I would normally have walked into the grocery store with, use that card, put the money back on there that day, and then I got points for travel, because now I'm using my money to make it work for me. And we'll talk about that. But anyway, like I said, I use Identity IQ credit cleanup, and they have just wiped my credit clean. So that's another story. But if you want more information about the credit, inbox. That's where you got to start. You got to start with your credit and getting your financial part together. So even before I made one trip, I worked on my credit first, because like I said, that's money in the bank. Second thing, the travel cards we're getting into. Please do your research, because some cards have high annual fees. Like there's some American Express that'll charge you $500 a year, and you're just happy getting your little card on, then $500 comes off. You're like, what? So don't do that. Make sure you do your research on the annual fees. You know, they have those disclaimers. Read those. Read those, because you want to make sure you're getting the best card for your money. So what I did was I started off with like a couple of retail cards, like Victoria's Secrets, Macy's, or some smaller ones. And then eventually, if you get a few of those, the travel cards will start noticing you, because you paid those off, you kept them at zero balance. And after a few months, they're like, okay, she looks like she knows how to pay some bills. So then your score starts going up, and eventually you apply for a little bigger one. You could go with, a couple. When my score was super low, I started with secured cards. And I was like, let me just go ahead and just put my own money down. Secured card means your own money. So I'm putting $300 down, and I'm paying on that monthly, and it's reporting on my credit bureaus. So using your own money for that. But anyway, back to the travel cards. Do your research. So what I did, I decided Marriott Envoy was a great one to have, because you can use it at any Marriott hotels, Delta, American Airlines. So once you start getting your score up, at least close to 700, you're able to start getting those travel cards. So the travel cards will start approving you left and right. They start off a little small. Like my first American Express, I got $1,000. I was like, okay. And every time I spend anything on it, I pay it right off. But every time you spend something on it, you get points. So you can go to the grocery store and they have specials all the time. So they'll say this weekend, we're giving 5 times points. So if you spend $100, you get 500 points. You're like, okay. And you got to realize that all these points add up. So eventually, when you get ready to buy that airline ticket, the airline ticket may say, hey, it's 10,000 points to buy a free airline ticket. Hey, I've racked up. I've just sat there for 5 months spending. I got 30,000 points on my American Express. Yeah, now I'm going to take this free trip. So that's what I started doing. I get free trips. When I was going to Paris, my flight to LA and Paris and back, I didn't pay for because I used all my points. In my Marriott Bonvoy, I stayed in a hotel in LA twice there, coming back. I didn't pay for that. Why? Because I had used my Marriott Bonvoy credit card. I racked up points all year. So starting this year, for next year, I'm racking up points now for my next trip next year. And then I'm going to go and use every time I go to the grocery store, when I pay my water bill, when I pay my rent. That's a big one, you guys. Don't pay your rent out of your bank account and write a check. How is that working for you? I took my card, my credit card, I pay my rent, 1,500 points or whatever that's going to be, whatever your rent is. And then that I pay it, put the cash that I was going to pay my rent with right back on the card. And guess what? Now I got points for travel for next year. All these things are going to contribute. Your grocery, your gas. Oh, that's a big one. Gas gives you like 3 to 5 times the points. So listen to what I'm saying. I'm not telling you guys nothing that maybe you haven't heard, but these are tips that have helped me to be able to travel and enjoy my life better without having to spend all that extra money. I'm spending it all year anyway. You're buying these groceries anyway. You're going to the dry cleaner anyway. You're spending the gas anyway. Why not make that money work for you? Okay. Third thing. All right. So when I was interested in property management, now I'm in property management, but when I was interested in, I decided I wanted to do investment. So investing in houses and things like that is something that I've had a dream of doing. I want to do Airbnbs. There's a lot of things I want to do in that industry. So I said, well, I need the inside track, because by the time a house comes upon Zillow, or by the time a house comes on the market, and you guys see it, we see it, it's already been, looked at by all the real estate agents, by all the inside brokers, by all the investors. They've already had those choices and kind of passed on them. So then it got to you. So what I've said is, if I have the inside track, then I know that I can get the best deal on the foreclosures and I can hear about them first. So what I did, I went to real estate school. I got my real estate license. And now, like when you get the MLS, it says coming soon. So you can look and see the houses that aren't up for market. And then you can talk to other real estate agents. They're like, hey, I got this friend who got this house. They haven't put it on the market yet, but they're going to put it on next week. Boom. So you get the inside track of stuff before the public gets it. That's why I went to real estate school. So what I'm saying for you is that in the travel industry, if you want the inside track of all of the deals, of all of the special savings, and you want those free trips and free cruises and things like that, I decided I'm going to become a travel agent. So I paid my little $49. Yes, $49. And then I became a travel agent. So guess what? You get free cruises. You get all these things are called fam trips. So what they do is they give you, the cruise lines want you to promote to people because you're a travel agent, and they say, hey, we're sending you on a free cruise. Hey, we're sending you on this trip so you can see this resort and tell your people about it. So they'll start sending you all these free cruises, $25 cruises. You get all these perks, right? And so you're saving on the front end and the back end, because then you're getting commission for going on your own trips. So if I go on a trip, guess what? I get the commission for going on a trip, a couple $100 back at me. And then in the beginning, I'm saving all that money. So credit, get your credit right so you can apply for those travel cards. Get the travel cards and spend your own dime on what you would normally spend on the card, and then pay yourself back to get all those points. Marriott, boom, I went and got timeshare too, but I'll tell you guys about that later, the pros and cons of timeshare and what I've learned during that process. I'll tell you about that on my channel. 3, travel agent. get the inside scoop. I don't even really book for anybody. Have you guys seen me book trips for anybody? I can. But what I'm doing right now is using those advantages for my own travel. And then if you want to book people too, because you guys all know people who are traveling, commission. So you'll get a check every time your friends and family travel. How many of you guys have friends and family that are traveling? All you have to do is type it in, get them to book it, and then you get a commission. So money on the front, money on the back, and points, and you're saving money on all this. So like I said, when I ended up going to Paris, how much did I spend? Less than $2,000. And I went to Paris, London. This is my last trip. I went to Paris, London, and Amsterdam, y'all. Okay, is that affordable for you? Like, where would you go if you actually had the time and energy? You know, so I'm just trying to help you out. I wanted to give you a trip. Book in advance. If you guys want to do a cruise, I'm going to tell you what me and my girls do. Every time it's Black Friday, you know what I do on Black Friday? I call the cruise on and book a cruise for the next year. So what you do is you book everything in advance. You guys don't even understand how easy this is. You can put $50 down on a cruise. Let's say the cruise is $700-800. You don't have that money right now, right? I know I don't. Some people can pay, you know, at one point, I used to have money when I was married. We could pay $3,000 for a Disney cruise up front. I don't have that no more. So what I do, $50 down. I want to go for next September. You can be patient. We have time. We're in a rush for it. So put the $50 down. Next year, I'm going on this cruise, right? They let you pay payments. So you put the $50 down and you can pay as long as you want to, all the way up until next year. You can pay $100 a month until your cruise. So that's what I do. I never pay for my cruise all the time. By the time I go on my cruise, it's been paid off. And it's been paid off slowly out of each check, so I don't miss anything. Only thing I gotta buy is clothes and my sunblock and my bathing suit. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, start now for next year. Next year is coming soon, right? So let's plan. So what I would say, if you guys are interested, subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to break this stuff down to you little by little too, and I'll help you guys out. If you want to inbox me, I'll hook you up with the credit thing so we can get that started. And if you guys are interested in the travel agency, you guys can partner up with me and I'll put you on my team, $49, get started, and you'll have all the inside track. You'll know all the special cruises. You'll know all the stuff before it happens, before it comes to the general public. That's when you're going to save the money, guys. So that's all I want to tell you today. I said I was going to get it to you. I did it in less than 20 minutes. I'm sorry if I was talking fast. You could rewind it if you need to see it again. But I just wanted to let you know, I love you guys. Thank you guys for all the support that you've shown me. You guys know I put my mother's ashes to rest right before this. I went to California and did all that beforehand, and I took some of my mother's ashes to Paris and I spread them out. So it was a beautiful thing. I had so much love and support, and I thank you guys. But this is something that I'm going to continue to do. You are, guys, every time y'all look at my page, you're going to see me traveling. You're going to see me going places. You're going to see me doing stuff. I don't want you to sit at home hating, being like, she must came up on some COVID money. That's not what happened. I learned now how to get ready for next year. Now that I'm back, guess what I'm doing? Planning my trip for next year. I got a trip to Hawaii already coming up in May. That's paid for. I have it and more trips for the end of the year. So I am getting ready for next year, and then it's going to come fast. You guys know how fast these years plan, so why not start now? And if you need help, let me know. You know who I am. Y'all know I will help. I'll bend over backwards to make sure that you guys can do whatever I can do. I'm not trying to take all the fun for myself. I want to do it with you guys. I want us all to come up together. So anyway, that's all I want to say. If you guys are interested in either the credit repair or getting the inside track on that travel agency, inbox me and I'm going to go ahead and hook you guys up. All right. Love you guys, and y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.